Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Mortification Monday. And today we get to take a look at the album that came out in August 28th of 1992 on Intense Records, probably their most known album, both in non-Christian and Christian circles. I am talking about Scrolls of the Megilloth. Now, this is the cover for the original CD for the Frontline Intense Records version. They would do a reissue in 2005 where the cover would be touched up a little bit, made up a little darker. This came out in 2005, and then you have this really nice slipcover version of the 30th anniversary. So let's take a look at basically what you got there. Okay. And I'll go over all these versions. Oh, and let's not forget a vinyl version. Now, there is one thing about this vinyl version I will point out. This is missing a song. Soundmass, this was pressed in 2016. Soundmass did a little 10-inch with that missing song, which is called Ancient Prophecy. Um, let me get let's get into the album though a little bit more. You have 10 absolutely brutal tracks. And I do mean brutal, heavy, fast, thrashy, perfect sound. These Mike Carlisle, Jason Sherlock, and Steve Rowe, these guys were a force to be reckoned with. When these three got together, it was absolute magic. All right. And everybody brought something else to the table. Some of these songs, not everything here is written by Steve Rowe. There's at least three tracks written by Mike Carlisle. There's at least three tracks by Jason, and then the remainder is Steve Rowe with a combination of one of the two. So let's take a look at this. So the first track opens up with this creepy sound intro song called Nocturnal. So you have this you're out in the middle of the woods somewhere and you're hearing all these owls and some different maybe wolves sounds or crickets and all kinds of things that make go bump in the night type of thing. And wow, this is a you hear the thumping of Jason's drums, and then the riffs kick in, and then the band just is firing here on just an incredible tight riff and rhythm here. Song is kind of about what they had to do just to get gigs. Sometimes they wouldn't go out in bars until about 2 in the morning. So it's the song kind of deals with a lot of basically just trying to shine um, basically just trying to shine the light in a very darkened time, literally, but also in a very darkened world. Um, Again, just a very strong opening track. Very, very strong opening track. Next song, Terminate Damnation. This is a Jason Sherlock, the drummer. He wrote this one. Absolute thrasher about spiritual warfare. Um, Again, you got Carlisle's tight rhythm playing, which is he was more known as a tight rhythm player, not so much as a lead player at this time. But when he does leads, it works for the song. But mostly here, there's just a lot of just heavy groove, heavy riff parts, and it just makes these three just to be completely unstoppable. Some very decent slow parts slow parts into fast stuff. Very good track. This would go on to inspire a band called Becoming the Archetype to name their debut album on Solid State Records. I was really, really thrilled when Jason and the boys told me that story, and Jason Wisdom told me that story, and I caught the connection very, very quickly. Um, Eternal Damnation. is your next song, and or Eternal, like, excuse me, Eternal Lamentation. My bad. Again, you have eternal suffering in hell. This is a very almost a Slayer thrash like. They really would be kind of inspired a lot by Bolt Thrower, maybe Carcass, some Napalm Death. I'm sure there was probably a lot of the American thrash that was thrown in there, but I know they were very influenced a lot by some of the Euro thrash that was going on at this time period. Just a really stomping, fiery ending. Another Jason written track, a very, very intense rocker. Um, Next up, we have Raise the Chalice, which almost has a chorus that's very accessible. And the riff, again, just a very catchy riff, strong chorus, song really about communion. You get some great thrashy sections here. The next song would be featured a lot in a medley that the band would continue to do, is a song called Lymphosarcoma. And this song really is a dedication to Steve's older brother Angus, who was dealing with the same disease and with God's help overcame it. There was a part here that's written by Michael Carlisle, and that usually is what gets cut out when they do the medley. But it's a very strong, very thrashy, great, great song, very catchy. Um, Next one up is the title track. This is another song written by Steve Rowe, Scrolls of the Megilloth. This has to do basically with the five books of the Old Testament, Ruth, Song of Solomon. Um, I should be ashamed of myself. I should know these. Ruth, Song of Solomon, Esther, Lamentations, and Ecclesiastes. So these were all scrolls that were found in this kind of this cave, and there's like a history surrounding that. But there's so much Jewish significance here, historical significance here, and some of the celebrations that were celebrated here. Um, Not the type of topic you would expect for something that sounds so deep and guttural when Steve sings. I mean, Steve is singing in this really dark, deep, guttural voice that's probably processed a little bit to make it even sound more sinister. But when you have a title like Scrolls of the Megilloth, it really fits that kind of sound. So it's really a great track. Um, let's see, Death Requiem. This is another Michael Carlisle written song. Uh, basically, uh, death and all the questions that it brings. There's a lot of intense sections here. Another strong track. Necromanticide. This is another Jason Sherlock written song. This also is a very kind of a catchy kind of chorus again for the kind of style it is. It's you don't exactly think catchy would work with it, but it's still this is a song that talks about the dangers of the occult. Very tight banger. Uh, just a memorable chorus. I love that necro badness die. And then hey, this really thrashy part. Great track. Inflamed. This is another Michael Carlisle song. Song of another thrasher here, talking about end times and the ones who didn't believe in Jesus and didn't make it. The final track is the epic track written by Jason Sherlock, who also is on lead guitar here as well. It's called Ancient Prophecy. Clocks in at almost 12 minutes, although it doesn't feel like 12 minutes. It really doesn't. It's um, going through the Accept series with John the Music Nut. I'm always amazed that some of the songs are like 4 or 5 minutes long, but if they feel longer, and I'm not really sure why that is, but but for 12 minutes, this one does. This one has just enough changes that it just doesn't feel like 12 minutes. But anyway, you have this really doomy intro. Again, mostly about the prophecy that Isaiah spoke about in the coming of Christ. You have a lot of thrashy parts in about the 7 minute with a very slowed down tape effect on with Steve's vocals. Um, Brilliant way to end the album. Wonderful, wonderful track. Probably my favorite of this era. Um, as you will find out, Mortification is kind of broken up into a lot of different eras, and I usually say that by the guitar player. Um, but yeah, this one's probably my favorite from this particular era. And like I said, a lot of people like this album. This one sold it may not have sold gold in any way, shape, or form, but this definitely got a lot of notice in the metal community. And sometimes not always a good thing because early 90s you had a lot of the Euro scene, black metal scene, death metal scene, and how can a Christian be doing this kind of sound and doing as good, if not better, than some of those bands were doing. But there's so much history with the in the black metal scene in Europe with in Scandinavia and Norway, especially with the church burnings and different things like that. Christians doing this style of music usually were also being, their lives were being threatened. It was very kind of a scary time if you were able to get out to that neck of the woods and you know declare yourself. But anyway, so yeah, so this album, this is the intense version. This has just the normal 10 tracks. This 2005 reissue features four demos, which are then featured on this 30th anniversary. Now, the demos, you have eight of the 10 songs in demo version. The only ones you don't get are Ancient Prophecy, which is the longer song, and it looks like Eternal Lamentation. Those are the only two that you do not get a demo version of. Um, and then it also features six tracks live in 1992. So it has the Scrolls of the Megilloth, Term of Damnation, Satan's Doom from the debut, Eternal Lamentation, Lymphosarcoma, and Death Requiem. So they were playing this album pretty heavy. Um, this is if for any metalhead out there, this would definitely be an album that I would, if you're going to listen to Mortification, this definitely would be an album to start with. Um, by far. It is a wonderful album. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the later stuff too, but if you really want some tight, heavy stuff, this this album, Scrolls of the Megaloth, would definitely be a wonderful place to start. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on this album. Let me know what you think about this. Next week, I'm going to talk about Post Momentary Affliction. That would be the last studio album that would feature Jason Sherlock and Michael Carlisle. Well, Jason Sherlock. Michael Carlisle will do another studio album, and then there'll also be a live album in the middle of all that. Um, so there you go. So check out. Please be sure to go check this out. Tuesday, we've got album track ranking A through Z. We'll be talking, tune into that and see what I talk about there. It's going to be a complete 360 or complete 180 really from this. Um, Wednesday, of course, the two up to the limit with John the Music Nut, and on this week we got Metal Roger from the North and South Rock and Metal Connection. We talk about the rise of chaos. Um, Next Monday, I am planning on doing a live stream, and I can I can only share it via through the YouTube channel. I'm not going to be able to share it directly from. I can share it to Facebook, but it won't stream live on Facebook and YouTube. I I don't want to pay for the bells and whistles for for all that, and I don't do enough live streams to warrant something like that. So I would love for you all to tune in on Monday the 16th. That would really make my day. It's going to be kind of treated like a Q&A, so everything you wanted to know about me but were afraid to ask, that would be a good time to do it. So either send in your questions via comments or emails, or if you see me on Facebook, just message me and or something. We'll figure something out if I can't get anybody in the live chat. But anyway, I would love it if y'all could share some time with me next Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Pacific. I don't know what that is in Norway time or Australia time or Europe time, or Alaska time or anything like that. But would love it if you could join me. So anyway, there you go. I am John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Mortification Monday. We'll see you next week for post momentary affliction. See you soon. Rock forever, y'all. Take care.